DreamHack ASTRO Open is brought to you by ASTRO, Monster Energy, Corsair, Zowie, and Intel.
DreamHack ASTRO Open. We're back in business for another best of 3 in our second of 3 days. That's right, one more best of 3 between none other than home side Fnatic. We say that, as you can see by the rather appropriate hats and party. We are in Jönköping, we are in Sweden, and Fnatic have taken to the stage. Standing against them is none other than Gambit, a side that have made themselves known in Counter-Strike ever since the arrival of Mastermind CIS in-game leader Zeus. I am going to be leading this desk to hopefully some degree of a standard. I'm Machine, and I'm joined by Hardcore Vendetta Gulastal. And, well, we've decided he's a Slytherin.
Yeah, for some reason.
And we also have decided, we haven't worked out where we're going to put Jacob. This is, of course, Jacob Pimp Vinegar. What do you think, Hardcore? I mean, you've accepted your Slytherin. Apparently I'm a Hufflepuff.
You're a Hufflepuff for sure.
That feels like an insult.
What do you think about Slytherin?
Slytherin, you talk to snakes and you like hang out with Draco and you're like, whoa, evil stuff. That's cool.
You paint a really nice picture for
we just like plant trees and stuff. I don't know what they do. I don't know. I didn't watch Harry Potter much. I'm going to call you. I think he might be a Gryffindor actually, because he's just, you know, he's got that beaming smile.
Yeah.
Have you been on holiday, or are you just like permatanned like me?
Sort of both.
Sort of both.
Sort of both. I like that. We'll go. Yeah. Okay, we'll go for Gryffindor. If you want to let us know what you are or what you think these guys are, perhaps you don't think this man can talk to snakes, let us know. Hashtag is DHOpen, and we'd love to hear from you. We'll be looking at them throughout this game. Another best of 3 for us to sit down and enjoy them for you at home. And to set the scene then, let's think about this one. Fnatic and their adventure yesterday is where this conversation starts. And an adventure it was. Did you count the rounds? What was it? So it was like the final score was 31-28 or something?
Yeah, 31-28. And,
so
obviously not in favor of Fnatic.
Yeah, okay.
So, you know, a bit of a marathon for them.
rounds.
Quite a bit.
Yeah, maths. Checks out.
Doing math live.
And I promised myself I'll never do maths on air.
We do it every event, it seems like.
I try every time, and occasionally it works.
Yeah, I think you're in the clear now. But yeah, definitely a long day for Fnatic, and obviously exhausting way to end it all. Especially, you know, you get extremely deflated when you actually lose a marathon like that.
Yeah, because you put so much into it.
Yeah, I mean, you could even tell, like, already going into the second overtime, whenever there was like a player cam going on, you could see like either, like rolling their eyes or just like taking deep breaths.
I saw a screenshot from the mod, the admin, and he just had the chat up, and you could just see, God damn it, when it goes into a third overtime, they're like lol 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 lol. It just kept going.
Yeah, no, it was a never-ending story, but Fnatic, you know, even though they ended up losing, they still show promise. I think obviously the big story was the fact that CLG looked as good as they did, but I don't think, you know, the loss was necessarily Fnatic playing poorly, and I think that's obviously something that's positive to bring into this game versus Gambit.
Because they have played poorly, Jacob, right? That we've seen Fnatic looking wounded, hamstrung.
We've seen rather shaky. I'd say like
shaky. Okay.
Yeah, shaky. Yeah. I'm pretty sure that they expected to do better when they formed this Fnatic lineup again. You know, they had the dominance a year ago, 2 years ago from now, and obviously they expected more. JW, Olaf, they've said them both. Like their goal is to be the best team in the world. You know, and right now they're pretty far away. They gotta admit that, and they gotta work on that. So it's interesting going up against Gambit now, because Gambit is sort of in the same place. You know, where Gambit have a different story. They came from literally nothing to be where they are right now. Where is it 3 majors in a row they made top 8? You know, they literally manifested themselves as a top 10 team, top 8.
It's true.
Potentially a top 5 team in the world when they're at their best. You know, so it's 2 giants in each of their way going up against each other.
And I think when we do kind of pull on the Gambit thread for a moment, you do have to reflect upon the fact that not everything has changed for them to go from nothing to everything. I mean, from a team that we've very rarely found ourselves talking about. In fact, when it was the Gambit games at those majors you mentioned, it became somewhat of a free win. How are Gambit getting stickers again? You know, this kind of conversation, when now it's entirely expected to see them at major events. Yeah, in the playoffs, in fact.
I mean, they've earned that reputation through hard work, and we talked about it, you know, even though they've been on a bit of an extended holiday right now, they are the kind of guys who will put in, you know, 100+ hour over 2 weeks, which is not you know, necessarily a commodity, you know, amongst all the pro teams. Like, sure, they'll put in a ton of hours to the game, but doing it at a consistent basis over a long period of time, that's extremely draining. I mean, they somehow managed to do it. So I think obviously that's beneficial for them even when they take a break. And I think that's why we saw, you know, some start engine problems versus CLG, but them coming into their own in the first match today.
And actually, interestingly enough, sometimes we get kind of caught up by like locking onto one player's name. You know, I'm not going to give examples. You know what I'm talking about. And there's of course 4 others that are making this happen. If I ask for you for a player to watch, as in a player that catches your eye for one reason or another from Gambit, I'll ask both of you. In fact, we'll start with you, Jacob. I mean, who is it actually out of those 5? Is it Mr. Adrian? It's
been Adrian, but I turn towards Mao actually. Like he's the difference maker to me, because when he's on top, like that's where I feel Gambit has been at their strongest. You know, you could pick Doja as well. He's an insane player, and for that matter, Zeus as well. Like the impact he has, and Hobbit has been MVP.
Fallen in the trap.
Exactly. It's like you can mention all of them, but I feel every time I watch Gambit, especially on majors, when they're at their best, that's when Mao is also stepping it up to the level of Doja, to the level of Hobbit, to the level of Adrian. So he's to me the difference maker. Not necessarily the best player, the most skilled player, but when he's at his best, then I feel like the whole Gambit team just come together.
Yeah, it's like that extra weight on the scale.
Yeah, just
tips it over. Yeah, tips it over in their favor.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and well, for me, every time I've seen any team with Adrian in it, it's always the player to watch for me. But just because he is, the epitome of consistency.
Yeah.
Not necessarily like having the breakout performances each and every time, but for the last 4 or 5 months, he has had that in addition to it, and it's kind of nice to see that he's finally getting the spotlight he deserves in many ways, because he's been such a good player all the way back to like 2005. He's been around for ages, so to see him kind of finally getting the recognition he deserves is really fun. But it's like Jacob said, you can't really just talk about one player when it comes to this Gambit team.
I just wanted to make sure that the right names are discussed, because sometimes it is easy to get blinded by the star.
Yeah,
the star can definitely blind us, and we will go ahead and actually introduce the stars of the stage. Fnatic, these guys dominated the very game we play at a certain period of time. Now they look to regain that former glory. And on your screens, the man who perhaps it hit hardest at one point was Olaf Meister. Yeah. Not only did the fall from grace hurt, he actually hurt himself. Withstood an injury, recovered, and is able to play again. And I mean, what was most interesting to me is that in the interview, kind of post his injury, he stated that I don't think I'm playing any worse. I just think I don't have the confidence I had. And it's such a, again, we come back to confidence, momentum,
arbitrary
buzzwords
things
that are hard to explain and quantify. But there is a whole lot of stock to be put in it.
But you can also tell the difference in it, and obviously, like especially with aggressive players, when aggressive players lose their confidence in what they do, they don't they have that half a second of delay to every decision they try to make. Exactly. Yeah, exactly. It's like, is this actually the right play to make? Instead of just going by instinct, which would obviously pay off in spades for a lot of these players. We've seen it with Olaf Meister, for the better part of a year throughout 2015.
Yeah.
And it's just that half a second, or the half step late, really, that makes all the difference in these kind of extremely tightly contested games.
And with him on screen as well, Dennis is there. You can see him looking swaggy with his cap. He's the newer name, perhaps, to the Fnatic roster. And there was a lot of interesting discussion surrounding, his addition. Is he going to be doing some leadership stuff? What's he going to be up to, other than being a pistol god? And there is more to Dennis than being good at pistols, right, Jacob?
Definitely. It's like to me, he's one of Fnatic's best players, and he's been one of the best players, I feel, as of lately. He's obviously you pointed out he's a pistol god, and you need to keep mentioning that, because he wins so many rounds for his team by being so good with the pistols. It's actually insane to think about.
It's not just a gimmick.
It's not just a gimmick, and it's important, because it is worth more than one round winning the pistol, obviously. Dennis is just a god at this game. I really feel for him. For some reason, when he was in FaZe before coming to Fnatic, it felt like he got more like a loose role. FaZe obviously was a more loose playing team. Sure. Like there were the extremes of loose playing style, and that maybe fitted Dennis more, I'd say. It seemed like it was a little bit rough for him to come into Fnatic, but it seemed like he found himself. He found a place in the team, and all I'm waiting for to Fnatic to actually gain back that major winning title form is getting JW back to where he was. Flusher, obviously, he was one of the best players in the world as well, and then Olaf Meister getting that confidence back. Those players have so much potential. They just need to find it.
It is so much fun that we sit here at the DreamHack Astro Open. We're looking at 2 teams on stage yet to even make it to playoffs, and we found ourselves saying, well, pretty much all of those guys, in fact, all of those guys are incredible at this game, and that's the beauty of it. A best of 3 between these incredible units are going to be done on what maps? That's the question, as you can see the graphic indicates.
The banned maps, Fnatic, I'm assuming, are going to ban out Cobble. It's a solid map for Gambit. It's also what they've gone with throughout the tournament so far, not necessarily a map that they lean towards that heavily. And on Gambit's side, they've been seeming to wanting to remove Mirage quite a bit. So expecting, there we have the Gambit ban already, and I'm expecting Fnatic to follow that up with the Cobble ban.
Okay, and then following that, where did the wins come from so far? We saw that very close game. No, that's Fnatic lost on Train. Cobble does come out. You smashed it.
2 for 2.
2 for 2.
Some prediction I can't get right.
I would love to see Fnatic's Inferno. I really would. There's Gambit's train. They obviously were watching over. In fact, I'm pretty sure I did see Zeus and their coach hanging out in the back room watching that very train game versus CLG.
Yeah, Inferno wins.
Inferno.
Such a good pick for Gambit as well. Like, look at how many rounds you have to actually look at what Fnatic did. You know, Fnatic can't pull up anything Gambit haven't seen by now. That's really
this time it's not choking on Monster.
Yet.
Yeah. No, I think he's learned his lesson when the camera's around. Oh,
such a sex god.
Look at that guy. He's trying to compete with Dojo, though.
That's Dojo.
It's never going to happen.
He's doing his best, though.
Can't battle the X god.
He's had enough now. Started to hurt his eyes. Cash being removed by Gambit, even though they had, again, a solid performance in their first game, probably not feeling too confident going up against Fnatic, who, in the past with this lineup have been, absolute beasts on that map. But I think the map will going to train for Gambit. That's a safe choice for them. Fnatic not necessarily having too good memories of the last time they played that map. Obviously, the tiebreakers in EPL didn't quite pan out as they would have liked to, but we still saw yesterday that Fnatic do have quite a few strings to play on train, and it's not a matter of massive adjustments for them to pretty much just get on a run. And we saw Gambit have a like somewhat slow start to their game as well versus Cloud9.
I'm very intrigued to know what the crowd is saying. Of course, admittedly, the better known names are going to be given some degree of an edge, but still a solid 40% towards Gambit.
I mean, equal amount of letters to vote for here. So
my theory's out the window here.
No, I mean, this is where, this is going to be like the actual how they actually feel.
The filter is applied, yeah.
Exactly, because now they can't, take the shortcut anymore. It seems like Fnatic are slightly favored.
Is that something you'd agree with?
I'm not really that sure.
Question, yeah.
Yeah, and again, like I've kept doubting Gambit in that sense when they go up against really solid lineups, to put it that way. But obviously, like, the game is not played on paper, and Gambit has shown that time and time again. They just keep on surprising. They keep on putting in solid performances, and they've shown more consistency in their game than what Fnatic has as of late. So you obviously have to give them that edge in a sense. And again, the map pool not bad for Gambit at all.
I mean, where does your mind go with that map veto, Jacob? You're thinking Inferno makes you happy?
Yeah, I think it's kind of even for both teams. Yeah, and it could be a great third decider on Nuke. To me, I'm still like Gambit. They played well against C9, but I'm still more like it felt like C9 wasn't on top of their game. It felt like there was the C9 we know, like being very inconsistent. Like you saw Automatic, Skadoodle, and what was the last guy, Shroud, not showing up at all. And that's 3 guys that. Cannot have that many guys not showing up. So I feel they kind of got by that Gambit by obviously playing well, but they need more in order to beat Fnatic now. I still think Fnatic looked better yesterday. I think Train is not a great map for Fnatic, so I think that's going to be Gambit's leap of opportunity here. Probably they're going to win it as well, and we're going to go to a DreamHack, and that's where it gets exciting.
What a way to end the day. I would love that. Nuke decider, Fnatic desperate to lift the trophy in front of a Swedish crowd. It has been a while. And then on the other side of things, Gambit warming up for that run into the major, as are Fnatic. Halvor, give me that prediction, or would you want me to go first?
I mean, that's...
Actually, no, ladies first, please.
Too kind. No, I'm Slytherin. I don't apply by those rules, so, you have to go first. As you promised at the start of the tournament.
I will slither into my prediction. I'm actually unsure. Damn, you put me on the spot. This is what happens when I do it to you.
Yeah.
I get it now. Oh, the pressure. My palms are sweaty. Perhaps my knees are weak. Okay, I think Jacob may have sold me on the Fnatic call, but I doubt Gambit every time. Like, for the last DreamHack Open, this DreamHack Open, I always find myself going against Gambit and being surprised.
Go with your heart.
I'm just going to go with my heart again. That worked out so well the first time. I'll go for Gambit. I'll give Gambit the edge, but I would have no problem with Fnatic in front of the Swedish crowd winning.
No, it definitely wouldn't be a bad semifinals at all. And I'm actually leaning towards Gambit as well. I haven't seen enough of Fnatic's Nuke, and I think this is going to go to a third map as well. And that makes me a bit worried because in the past, Nuke was just something Fnatic didn't play at all. So obviously they have the players to be capable on Nuke, but whether or not they've actually practiced it enough to go up against Gambit, that remains to be seen. So for now, siding with Gambit.
I think it's going to be extremely close. I already said it. I think it's going to be a DreamHack. At least like Gambit needs Train. That's for sure.
Step one.
That's step one in like beating Fnatic on home soil, basically. I think it's going to be a close one. I think it's going to be Nuke, and I think Fnatic is going to take it. And we're going to see JW being ultra aggressive with the AWP CT side Nuke, and that's going to be fun.
No Mag 7s?
No Mag 7s.
Oh.
Well, we get to see them on Train.
Yeah.
He has a very unique approach to Train. Let's venture into that first map just a little long. We have some extra time.
I mean, well, just JW and on those 2 maps, Mag 7s, the bank of Fnatic. As that Mag 7 became to be known, playing close doors on Nuke, or pretty much playing in the ladder. in Pop Dog.
But I'm so baffled by it. And of course, you know, he has such a success rate, it's hard to kind of struggle to explain it, but okay, let me try. The Mag 7, if they don't come to where you are, drop room cobble, if they don't come to Pop Dog, you are so hamstrung against rifles, against anything.
Pretty screwed. Honestly, and even JW swapped around positions a bit as well. He also plays Ivy now on Train.
Oh, yeah.
And he still picks the Mag 7 every now and again. Obviously not the best position to have a Mag 7 if they come out from team main.
It's very limited what you can do. Is the idea, though, like you get that rifle? It's like the CZ, but a big boy CZ.
Yeah, in the sense, you get your one kill, you pick up his gun, and then go on from there. That could be the mentality, and obviously, like if you trade 1 for 1, that could be beneficial depending on how the round plays out. So that might be the mentality as well. But
so many scenarios where, like, if he were to retake with a Mag 7, like so often is one of his teammates dead, or another guy is dead somewhere on the map, and he can pick up a rifle, right? And JW is just one of those guys. We talked about Henny being one of the most annoying players in the world. Angel has to be mentioned as well. He's not here though, but he's so annoying to play against, and so is JW.
And what is that? Because of the
unpredictability,
unorthodox. Like it's whatever they do and whatever they think about this game. Like I don't follow it because I can't understand it, and I'm a pro after all, But it's just like this sixth sense, and he knows when to push the button. He knows when to go that extra step where it doesn't make sense anymore, but it usually works for him when he feels confident.
There is a reason that there is a saying or a hashtag, just JW thinks.
Yeah, exactly.
He does get away with it. He's on your screen now, and a spectacular player to watch. When everything is connecting, he is one of those players where you have a game or you have a round where just everything just goes his way. Everything is where it should be. It falls into place, and it is just kind of poetry in motion.
And it's kind of unique in that sense that if you stripped out the entire HUD and replayed a frag, like a typical JW frag, like people would know who it is. Exactly, that's the thing. Like because he does so many weird things that shouldn't make sense, or like doesn't make sense to, I guess, a normal bystander. Probably not that much to his teammates either. But it still works out, and that's kind of the magic with him.
That's one of the things that made Fnatic so good when they were like the major winning team. They had this stable flusher guy who were always putting up, like he was sort of like the Oscar with a rifle. He was always putting up great stats, always putting up great numbers, no matter what happened. And then you have this like X Factor JW just running around and doing whatever the F he wanted to do on the map. And that's you can't control it. If they feel confident, if all of Meister feel confident, if flusher is where he's used to be, and JW has confidence, then like back then I remember thinking to myself every time we played Fnatic, how are we going to stop this? We have to do something spectacular in order to stop this
bleed.
Yeah, and it's kind of a weird thing because that's probably one of the bigger differences that they, from 2015 Fnatic to Fnatic in current, present day, the fact that back in the day they could actually send out JW on a bit of a, kamikaze mission, and if it didn't succeed, it didn't really matter all that much. It was perfectly fine because you did have either Crims, soloing on the B bomb sites, or Olaf or Flusha on the other extremities of the map, just locking down everything at all. And when JW is successful, it's kind of just broken the round apart within the first 25 seconds.
And just because you popped his name into my head, a question does venture us towards our second map, Inferno. Crims and Olaf was known as the Behold, right?
Yeah.
These two were dastardly.
Basically, the two Gandalfs that would not let you pass.
Shall not pass.
Yeah, exactly.
And at this point, it does seem like they've mixed things up. Last time we watched Fnatic on Inferno, I couldn't tell you where we were, but there was kind of general confusion as to why it was Crims and Sans Olaf. In fact, no, tell a lie, Crims was playing Pit. They'd completely moved things around, and I always wonder, can you shed light? Of course, you don't know what the conversations were had, but why does things like that happen? Why do illogical, from an outsider's standpoint, decisions get made?
First of all, Inferno's changed. It's not the same map anymore. Like Inferno before was, it wasn't easy, but it was doable to hold banana area alone. You can't do that anymore. It's more open. It's more wide. Like you don't have the same opportunities as you had on the old Inferno. So simply as it is, Crims can't be there alone as he used to be. So something had to change, and that's where I'm sure they tried in the beginning, like to reform that like duo, and they figured out that's not gonna work. It no longer suits Crims' play style. Whereas being in Pit is actually an area where you can be alone. You can hold the area from Pit. You can hold apartments, you can hold like short and long from the same little area, and that's where Crim is best, when he's able to play alone and do his stuff.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, the fact that the Inferno has changed, I always find it interesting when you realize that not necessarily the same teams are as good on Inferno. You'd expect it to be a copy and paste, but then I guess the same can be said for Nuke. However, we haven't seen that crops up again in this map pool, and the same teams aren't necessarily as equally as good, despite there not being complete rework of the map.
Yeah, no, it is small. It's the small nuances, right? And that's what we talked about. Talk about all the times. Like, what's really the difference between a top 1 and a top 4 team in the world?
Yeah,
it's very marginal, and it can change on a daily basis, pretty much, depending on form. And it's a similar kind of fashion with the map as well. Like how how much of an impact it can actually have, and how, you know, I think the Crims example is really good. The fact that, you know, the B-bomb set has changed significantly, or when I say significantly, it's minor changes that make a drastic change to how it plays out.
You're talking about Inferno again?
Yeah, yeah.
Would you call them minor? I think that, I mean, that's the big change for the T side.
In terms of layout, it's, again, familiar territory. It's not like it's a complete rework. It's, you know, small changes. Yeah, well, you know, it's those little things that make a massive impact, and I think that's why we're seeing, you know, teams change things up. Even SK today played with different positions from what they've done in previous tournaments. So, you know, they started out with Cold and Phelps on B, then it was Cold and Fallen, now Fur was on B a ton of the times. So, you know, they're still trying to figure things out.
And I guess we come back to that. Hey, I've got another word for our list: feel. Ooh. Feel and play our own game.
Yeah, play our own game. I love that.
What is your own game? What is that? But I mean, teams have it, and I do feel like there is, without sounding like too much of a kind of a fanboy, there is a very clear style to some of these teams. We're not making this up. We're not pulling this from thin air. These teams do have a style. And would it be fair to say that Gambit and Fnatic style of kind of different ends of the spectrum in Counter-Strike?
Definitely, and especially like it's interesting in this matchup for me because Gambit style is more like you know, it's structured, it's tactic based, it's Zeus who controls the players, and that's also why Gambit players are so even in terms of contributing to a win. You know, we always see the Gambit team when they play well, it's all of them playing well, pretty much. You know, whereas Fnatic, it's more like it used to be Olaf standing out, it used to be Flusher standing out, and then sometimes JW, sometimes Crims. You know, obviously they were the best team in the world, so all of them played great. The funny thing for me is, and partly also a reason why Fnatic might not be as good as they were back in 2015, is you said it pretty well. Like JW, sometimes to send him out on a kamikaze mission, he just like, if he got a kill, then fine. If he died, then it didn't matter. They would win the round anyway. You can't do that anymore, especially on CT side, because a team like Gambit, they're so composed, they're so structured. When they enter a side, they know like they Molotov each area, they flash each area, and they know where to look. You know, so it's no longer possible for Crims to just stand there by himself and take on 5 Gambit players. Whereas before, teams weren't as structured, teams weren't as clever as they are today. You know, so Crims with the level he had, he was able to mess with them, which he can't do anymore to the same degree.
Teams aren't as clever. Well, teams weren't as clever as they are now. Yeah. That's it. I mean, let's explore that just for a moment. We have about 2 minutes left before the guys have got that PC up and running. Just to clarify, guys, we're not just talking because we love the sound of our own voice. Despite hopefully giving you some insight, it is also just making sure all the players are comfortable, ready to do battle in the best of 3. Just kind of closing out on that point is that, do you genuinely believe, Calvor, that Counter-Strike and the style of play, the actual quality of the play has been on an incline this entire time?
It constantly increases. Absolutely.
Never going to stop.
I think that's just the nature of any competitive game, that it's just constantly going to get harder and harder to become better. And obviously, in order to stay at the top, you have to improve. It's always, we always talk about how it's much tougher to stay at the top than it is to chasing the number 1 spot and so on, because you're left in that spot where you don't really know where to innovate if you're always winning, etc., until you hit that brick wall and everything stops. So teams really have to get smart about it. If they want to stay at the top, you have to constantly think about what you're doing. You have to reinvent your game, not necessarily by doing massive changes, but again, it's those small subtle things that you have to constantly keep refreshing.
It does just make me, I mean, again, we are just going on a walk through my mind at this point, the the eras that were established and why those happened,
and why they ended.
And why they ended, exactly. Like, it's so interesting when you think about what were SK doing when, NIP had over 80 wins in a row. Where has this world come through? And you had Fnatic, who were just proving that they could be the best individuals in the game, and Pronex was pulling the puppet master strings. And then you walk into SK, who have just kind of blown the world up, kaboom style.
Nice reference.
Thank you.
But it is really incredible, and I think that's what makes SK's longevity at the very top so incredible. Because what you see with both, when Envy were at the top, when Fnatic were at the top, they all fell to the, by the same fault, really. The fact that they couldn't innovate anymore. They kept going with the same play style over and over, and then just kind of banging their heads into a wall until they more or less gave up and kind of fell off the earth. And obviously, a bit hyperbole there, but with SK, they've constantly had nuances added to their game that just keeps them at the very top and just constantly a potential contender for any tournament.
Well, on their 45th trip to Europe, which does start here in Sweden, we'll find out how it plays out for SK. They're already locked in, though. We know that that's going to be going down. CLG will meet SK tomorrow in our final day of play, as we'll be lifting that trophy on this very stage. But for now, the Swedish crowd could sigh a sigh of relief, because they get to see their favorite players in action, both on either side of the stage. You've got the legendary boys of Gambit, and even more so, we have Fnatic, trying to retain former glory as we jump into this best of 3 with your casters. Vince, Dust, how was that cast previously? How's the vocal cords doing? I asked before, but now you've just done it again. You can't stop shouting.
Mate, Coldzera's having one hell of an event, isn't he? Like, highlight reel-worthy stuff all over the place.
Yeah, absolutely. Dust, what are your expectations, dude? The desk were unwilling to kind of bow the knee and start flying the Fnatic flag.
Yeah, I think Gambit has trained. I think it's just going to be up to who wins Inferno. I think depends on how the series is going to go. I just think that Fnatic looks so one-dimensional against CLG on train, and they just didn't seem to have a whole lot to go to when their default wasn't working, whereas I feel like, you know, Gambit are going to have more. Yeah, it was really weird. Like, they were playing out to the last 30 seconds every round on their T side, and I think they just got really bogged down. They were still successful on it, don't get me wrong, but I just think that Gambit's going to have a good read on that, and it's going to force them to make adjustments and probably have a better time than CLG did on CT side.
A clash of styles and countries. We'll leave you to it, guys.
Thank you very much, Alex. Yeah, it's going to be an interesting game, and I think it's very, very hard to call. You know, they were kind of alluding to this on the desk as well, that it was difficult to call between two teams. It can very much go down to the wire in the third map, and I do feel this is going to go the distance. I'd probably slightly edge with Gambit, but I could definitely see Fnatic taking this as well.
I think there's a reasonable chance Gambit can 2-0, though, because I really do feel like Gambit just has more on train than Fnatic did. I mean, we saw them yesterday against CLG. It felt like every round it was just double op or something, or they were just playing really slow. It was so unlike Fnatic, like, who you expect to be explosive and aggressive and in your face all the time. They really seem to be, like, more reliant on almost like an old school Navi style, just playing super slow and trying to play mid-round or late-round situations. And so I just think that hurts, like, to not see that other side of them that we know that they probably should have. Maybe they'll get in their comfort a bit more this time around and actually show us some of that. Whereas I feel like Gambit just have a deeper playbook on this map. And they've also been quite successful on train. I mean, it has to be said that this is one of the maps that Gambit's kind of added to their pool. I mean, they've always been known for Cobblestone, but then Overpass became pretty good. And train is certainly one of the other maps up there towards the top end of it. So when you put all that together, I think that at least for this map, Gambit should be seen as the favorite.
I mean, you saw just previously Olofmeister, real rags to riches story yesterday. I mean, the first map was poor, you know, and he came out and said it himself. Although he felt like he did a pretty solid job, he wasn't quite firing on all cylinders. But then on train, he ends up with over 50 kills. Sure, it went into 5 overtimes, but he was consistently one of their main players. But ladies and gentlemen, we're getting into this. It's going to be the first round of the best of 3. Fnatic starting on the CT side, and Gambit with a bunch of utility actually on both Mo and Doja, heading towards the B side, down into box halls. We still have a player, which is going to be Mo, who is around the back side. But now the push is coming to fruition, and Flasher gets completely destroyed by Adren, and it's going to be a bomb plant. And it's hard to see how Fnatic can retake now. The Hobbit's gone in for another kill. Adren up close and personal. Going to be trying to make some more friends with his pistol, but it's all on Zeus to land it on Crims. Down goes Adren, but Zeus steps up for yet another one. And Olofmeister, who's picked up 3, by the way, is not only on for a 1v3 clutch, but also the ace. It's asking so much of him, but he does have a kit. Just checking connector to make sure no shenanigans will be found. And now across to the site, gonna tickle the bomb, try and draw out the opposition into the open. And now there's just not enough time. The round is over. Olofmeister, valiant attempt, nice try, but Gambit do pick up the first.
Yeah, just got a clean entry on the Flusha on the inner bomb site, wasn't able to do a whole lot there, and then the fact that they were able to just push so deep into inner, right, getting over towards Z, getting back over towards CT spawn, just really kind of suffocated Fnatic. Never really gave them the space they needed to try to work out some type of retake. Olaf certainly put in his best efforts here with a few frags, but in the end, just not enough time. So we are going to see Gambit take that 1-0 lead. Fnatic will, of course, get the upgraded pistols and armor out, so we'll see if they can try to challenge a little bit early. As we are going to see Flusha trying to get an aggressive peek on lower ramp. No one there quite yet, as he will push up for it. Krim's also pushing ladders, so we may see some early exchanges.
Fortunate moves to his right-hand side with the aim looking at the staircase, and Zeus was already on the wide peak. Down goes Flusha. Second consecutive time he's been the first player to fall. Olofmeister, the only player who didn't come into this round with Kevlar, just a Deagle, has been tagged. He's going to use that smoke as a blockade. He's going to get close to it as well, so he has limited time to strike. There's one, and a second frag as well. Can Olaf pull off a third? No. Great attempt once again. Has brought it down to an even situation, and Dennis long range plucks out the head of Zeus. The advantage now falls upon the Swedes.
Oh, and this flank is going to be so devastating. Crims, though, just barely misses the shot. He's going to follow it up, but Dogia clears him. And so it goes back into a 2-2. There's still another flank coming in from JW. Will they expect it? Or is he going to hit the sick timing? He does. He gets the frag. And this is getting now really scary for Adren.
Has to turn tail and run back to the site. There's still 30 seconds to play with, so he's not in any great rush to get the bomb planted, but he's going to go for it right here, right now. Maybe calling the bluff that Fnatic would assume this would be a fake. And now this shifts the dynamic, the parameters of the 1 and 2. Spots himself. Dennis does a bit of damage, knocks him down to 43. Can hear the pitter-patter of footsteps above him. Adren so far has been playing this one spot on. Not going to be landing anything else, nothing sticking just yet. Only 10 bullets remain in the clip. Needs to reload, and meanwhile JW's holding down on the defuse. Good news for Adren is it's not a kit, but the bad news is that he's actually missed out on the opportunity to stop the defuse. Oh my goodness, that is hard to watch, Adren.
It hurts so much because if he would have planted on the ground on that side instead of on the train, he probably is able to stop JW from defusing, but JW able to find an angle to defuse from the center of the bomb train, eliminating any option for Adren to get shots off. And so just a little small detail, not quite having the bomb in the right place, actually stops Adren from saving that one. But again, just good play from Fnatic, especially those flanks in inner halls. They were so massive, and now we have a scrappy beginning as Adren trying to put that deagle to work for himself, as he does take out Olaf right away with the one tap. And so Gambit are looking to strike right back, so we may have one of those economic games of chicken on our hands if this continues.
Crims using the incendiary early on, actually bouncing off the bomb. I think originally he was trying to get that into T main side, and that's where the kill came from Gambit in the first place. So one derpy nade cost them. See if it ends up being dearly. Hobbit has an opportunity, can't quite capitalize on it, although a bit of damage has been done to both Crims and Dennis.
It's important to note that Gambit didn't go too heavy-handed in the force buy this round. They didn't pick up armor on most of their players, so it's not like they dipped too heavy into this. They're still setting themselves up to get a buy pretty soon.
Incendiary now tossed to the back of the B side, trying to deny the bomb plant. It does force Mo to jump on top of the bomb as opposed to behind it, so it did eat up a little bit of time, but the bomb's still going to go down all the same. Hobbit and Mo, the Deagles in hand. Mo's being tagged up, and now it's all that remains, and Crims comes through for a second. Solid retake. Fnatic will be picking up a second round, but for Gambit, as you say, they didn't really invest fully into the round, so they're going to be golden to go ahead and get a pretty decent buy into this next round. We'll definitely include AKs.
Yeah, especially since they got that bomb plant again. So when you take a conservative buy on a round like this and you have 2 bomb plants to back it up, you can go ahead and get that 3rd round buy. And here it is going to be 4th round, rather. Op is going to be in the hands of Mo as well. Rifles across the board. This is where you expect them to play their default. Again, they have a very good default. They're known to be a slow, steady team, playing methodically. So Hobbit probably going to be controlling inner halls. Mo will be floating around. Dozier usually at Ivy. But this time around, they're actually forming up for something a bit early here in the inner halls. They have several different inner executes they can run, heavy lower and heavy upper. As I say that, they kind of start shifting even again.
Because of Mo's lack of Kevlar, it didn't really feel like peeking T main. It is an area of the map where you're expecting HEs or incendiaries to fly into. So not having the shield of Kevlar can really be an issue there. Didn't have the perfect spawn for it either, so they are going to be playing for more of this inner-centric strategical.
Yeah, again, it looks like inner halls is going to be the choice. They have a couple of different variations how they like to attack, depending on what type of numbers they want to use, upper or lower. It seems like this wants to be one of the more lower heavy executes, and so here they go.
Incendiary going to be thrown onto ramp. Doesn't really do anything to the terrorists, but that shot of Olaf will gets answered back instantly by Mo. Bomb hasn't been planted, but will be in the next few moments. There we have it. And once again, a carbon copy of what we've already seen a couple of times, and that's a B retake is on the cards. This time around, Gambit have a bunch of rifles and an AWP to fend the push with, but plenty of nades for Fnatic. They don't have incendiaries. And they want to hold on to this smoke as long as possible, because for all I know, there's a molly in the hands of the terrorists, and Doja comes through with a kill. Dennis will be very disappointed he wasn't able to capitalize on that. And JW at the back of the site has witnessed his entire team crumble around him, and he's going to get plucked out from Mo for his third of the round. So Gambit right back into even territory at 2-2. And Fnatic's economy is, well, down the toilet.
Yeah, just doing great work again to break it on the inner bomb site. We saw them just flooding heavy numbers down lower, and they found some great entries. Particularly Mo with this AWP was putting in some good work, cutting off some of these rotates, and finishes it off there onto JW. Still, Gambit, though, are a little bit low on cash. I think they go to a couple of SMGs here. They're going to try to do something a little bit different, trying to put some pressure outside, but there's a huge push coming from Fnatic in the Brown Halls, trying to flank in the ladder. A couple players here towards the bathrooms, though. It's going to be Zeus and Hobbit, the normal guys that work inner. They're kind of held back waiting for something like this. Will they pick up on it? Yes, one has been spotted.
It's a two-man push as well, so the idea is to try and avenge as soon as possible, but now Olofmeister's been left out to dry. He needs Flusher to come help him out here, lend him a helping hand. There's nothing forthcoming. Damage was inflicted to Gambit, but it's not a worthwhile endeavor or trade for Fnatic, who of course did force into this round. So only have pennies to play with if this doesn't go their way.
Yeah, Olaf just got trapped there, stuck with the smoke in his hand, took so much damage and just couldn't get out of there. Zeus cleared him out, and so now this gives Gambit an early advantage here as they continue just to kind of work the clock. Maybe try to get some ladder room control incorporated. Drin still holding out inner halls with the MAC-10. So their options are still really open to them. But it looks like they are starting to think about committing here into lower again. Dennis with the Deagle will be here to try to hold it off.
Oh, you give him a chance with a pistol. He is going to deliver. Much like Flusher, great start for Fnatic after losing Olaf in the early stage. Flusher's going to be using a flash to escape with behind the spools now. And time is scarce. Time itself is almost an enemy for Gambit at this stage. They can't afford to delay any longer. They've got to start to push in. Doja patiently waits for Flusher, and he will reap the rewards with the kill. Drops down and takes a bit of damage, which could push him into territory on these pistols, but Hobbit does have his back from Catwalk. JW from the side with one, and a second as well, and there's 4 seconds left. That could be all she wrote for this round. Hobbit comes back with one of his own, but there's no reason for Crims to peek, and Fnatic have done it with pistols.
And it's Gambit. The clock being their enemy again, sometimes a very slow-paced team. In fact, that's kind of one of their trademarks, and it comes back to bite them this time as JW with the key frags to stop the bomb plant. Even though they were getting some good kills and they were staying kind of ahead in the man count, they could just never really completely break into that inner bomb site. JW makes a big play, and now all of a sudden it's Gambit who are on the back foot once more. They had to scout onto Mo, trying to find a quick pick outside, but it's going to be to no avail. Fnatic certainly low in their own right. Like, both these teams are really bleeding out when it comes to economy. So vulnerable are both teams. Adren trying to go for the hunt, misses out.
And this could effectively be a 2-for-1 round. This could be the moment where one team really takes a stranglehold over this first half. Olofmeister with the Mark-7. Goes up, actually misses out on his chance, going to throw in a HE instead. Could land plumb onto Zeus, but he just scampers around the corner. Elsewhere, Doja falls down. Mo's going to land the scout shot. Couple players very low. 3 in fact in total for Fnatic. But still alive. Dennis with 1, traded out instantly. Gambit are keeping themselves just about in this round, but JW is starting to sneak his way around the side, and 13. Lucky for him on this encounter. Hobbit out in the open, drilled by the FAMAS. And with Fnatic keeping 4 players alive, not only does that stabilize them somewhat, but now Gambit realize forcing not really worthwhile.
Yeah, it's finally Fnatic who are able to get a grip on the economic game thanks to that round victory. Gambit must concede, and this is where Fnatic can try to farm some cash with those SMGs on Flusha and Crims, try to get some money back. Olaf even having the Mag-7 even more of a cash register if he's able to rack up some frags, as we are going to see Gambit with really not much hope in this round, right? Just kind of gathering up inner halls, but this is where Flusha just goes to town farming with Olaf.
MP9 lost, no problem. Expendable weapon. As long as they don't lose more players here, of course. Oh, the cheeky Mag-7 through smoke. Is he going to be able to finish off? He will. Olof with 3 max 7 kills. That is money in the bank. He is now up to $8,000. And it's the kind of weapon as well that we know Fnatic like to use on Train. They may not even replace this.
Yeah, certainly it can have its uses, particularly over towards ladder room and inner halls like this. So they will, in fact, keep it. AWP is actually going to be on Flusha. Interesting. Usually it's either on Olaf or JW. Flusha, the inner player, is going to have it. I guess he just had a really good spawn to peek upper side. Yeah. And he's going to run into a fair amount of people, so this could get really interesting.
Well, Flusha, what you've got in the bank. Oh, nearly gets a 2-for-1. He actually hit a Dren through Hobbit. Second kill goes his way. As Mo sniped out of his shoes. Flusha with another one. Maybe they should give him the AWP more often. Is he able to pick up a 4th? No. But he pretty much gives the platform for Fnatic to jump on top of. Excellent work. And they also pick up the AWP in the last second, so JW is going to have that for himself now.
Yeah, he just single-handedly shuts down his inner push. He does get 1 kill as well as a lot of damage in the 2-for-1 sort of situation, then falls down and just finds even more. What a great hold. And I feel like throughout Fnatic's history, you've seen everyone on this lineup touch the AWP at some point. It does dance around quite a bit, but now it goes back in the familiar hands with JW. Again, that was just a spawn-based play from Flusha that really couldn't have gone much better. And that puts Fnatic up 6-2. It puts Gambit back onto another low buy, and this is a much better CT side for Fnatic compared to yesterday.
And Gambit certainly not taking a page out of CLG's playbook. They're playing very aggressive on these T rounds. Saw in all those overtimes, 3 or 4 rounds on either side that were aggressive right off the bat, but Gambit, bloodthirsty. Already out onto B. Downside those, they don't have the bomb. They can't go for the plant. It's going to take quite some time before Doja can bring that bomb towards the B side. So they're trying to filter out and see if they can get some kills on the approach, but Flusha and Dennis proving to be a blockade. An impenetrable blockade. Dennis with his 2nd and a 3rd. And JW will clean up the rest. Fnatic certainly stabilizing. It was a rocky start, but they now have a 5-round lead.
Yeah, I just feel like you're seeing Fnatic have that confidence and that swagger about them in this game. Like, they're taking more active presence on their CT side. They're taking the, you know, aggressive peaks. Like, I couldn't name one time Flusha really did something aggressive on inner halls in that CLG game yesterday, but you see him come up with a big op frag, count that one particular round, and now they have a good lead going for them. So it just feels like they look more themselves, I guess is what I'm trying to get at, which is good to see on the home turf here, as Gambit will be back onto a 5 rifle buy. Looks like they're looking for some type of triple Ivy setup here. Or never mind, just 2 over there, but we'll see if they can duel out JW, who's waiting for some type of cross. They're gonna try to boost Dozia over.
Yeah, for the run boost. Oh, it wasn't clean either. JW, like, didn't really react to it because typically,
can't expect that.
Yeah, typically you're not gonna be able to get that shot off. You're looking for that 2nd player to peek you.
Especially since when people do that, sometimes they'll have an op waiting right there because they want to bait that shot out and they're going to make you pay for it. So JW doesn't want to go for that.
Yep.
Could have gotten in that scenario, though. That's definitely a little bit hampered, but not going to be the case here. We see a double ladder setup from Fnatic. This is something we're seeing a lot of teams doing now because of the pin noise on a nade. So you can really anticipate ladder drops so well from this position with 2 players here. So we'll see if Gambit are able to find a way through, because they're definitely looking to split outer with this Ivy presence.
Through Ivy again. Will be Doja taking point for his team. Zeus behind him. Only 2 flashes and a smoke to play with, though. So this utility is going to need to be on point. 1 flash to get them out of Ivy. Smoke has just been tossed out elsewhere. Over on the B side of all places. Or maybe trying to fake this is a B hit. Now they're going to start to push through. Trades going back evenly. Dennis is going to be shutting down Pop Dog. Now Dren nailed point-blank range courtesy of JW's AWP, and Doji's going to get 1, but he's only got 10 seconds to clutch a 1v2 with 8 health. The odds firmly stacked against him. And JW will lay the round bare. 8-2. 4K for JW in that round 2.
Yeah, Gambit, I mean, they have a deep playbook, but it's hard to put it to use when you just don't have the money. They've been on such a decline when it comes to the money they have at their disposal, and this is going to be no exception, as they only have that 1 AK on Dozia here. Everyone else on Tech 9s. An okay amount of utility, but not the best. And with these Tech 9s, you'd expect something a bit faster pace, and you do see them lining up that smoke wall on bomb trains. So it looks like they're going to try to split ladder and T-Con and see what they can hope for, but they're going to be up against a stout defense from Fnatic, who has that double AWP, and Dennis up close.
Smoking off his left side so we can focus on sitting between the two smokes. A room in which he can hide, but of course, got to take Nine's way, not just spray through there. Try and get kills wherever you can. The bomb's been planted. Crims is in hot pursuit on the site with his M4. Said time and time again, this is one of the most difficult sites to retake in the entire game. There are so many angles to watch out for. Although they're a player behind, they have the firepower advantage, they have nades, and they're starting to get kills. Flusher with 2, Olofmeister with 1, and now it's on to Mo and Hobbit to try and stop the defuse, which is happening in the smoke. Hobbit doesn't want to give his position away, and it is going to get diffused in the smoke after all. Fnatic with yet another one, and is now 7 rounds in a row.
Not a bad look at all from Gambit as far as the approach. They did what they could, what they had, but just the patience from Fnatic. And then the frags finally rang through. They put it up. It's 9-2 now. Double op setup still in effect here for Fnatic. It's just going to be the single op of Mo on the other side. Every now and then they like to do a Dren double opping, but they just don't have the money for it. And what play do they reach for now? They've tried a faster outer hit. They've done their default. They've tried some of their inner executes. They've had a lot of success at interaction. I feel like both their rounds did come from an inner exec. But again, it's the agency of Fnatic to take action on the periphery of the map. This time it's Olaf getting aggressive inner halls. They're disrupting Gambit so well.
Adrian outside. Picked off as he pulls a nade out. And Mo is going to go searching, seeking, going to find some prey in amongst the smoke. Nothing there. And of course, yesterday, it was the T side that was yielding all around. Brilliant shot by Olofmeister, and to make matters worse for Gambit, that's the bomb being dropped out on the site. The wrong side of the ramp. Now, I spoke to Natu so many times about this, and he's a firm advocate of the idea you learn more from a loss.
Yeah.
And it seems to me Fnatic have definitely adapted since yesterday.
I mean, you can see it. Like, I feel like most of the CLG game, both teams just turtled up a lot in early round. Like, they both had double ops throughout the entire overtime process, which we went through 5 of them. It was double op opening for both teams every single round, and it was very slow. No one really took a lot of initiative, just holding passive angles. And here, you're seeing Fnatic get in Gambit's face. Like, we've had Flusha push upper within op at Innerhalsen, a win around off of it. Olaf just disrupted Gambit again with the exact same maneuver. So I think the fact that you're seeing Fnatic kind of play more to those aggressive strengths, I think it's really knocking Gambit off. And they've also just crushed Gambit's economy. You know, like, they've really limited the amount of buying Gambit's been able to do in this game. And when they finally get full buys, they get crushed by an aggressive push by Fnatic. So it's just been a nightmare for them. And now the best they can hope for is saving these guns.
A solid reaction shots by Mo, but just not impactful whatsoever. Just to save his AWP. It's not going to change the fact this team are 10-2 behind. Pause called on the side of Gambit, of course. Try and remedy the situation, and it's quickly slipping away.
Yeah, just trying to think this one through a bit more. They are going to have the op on Mo again. Everyone else should have enough money for rifle utility, and I'm just kind of curious to see what they go for here. Again, I feel like a lot of their success has been inner. The problem is they've been caught by aggressive pushes in the halls from Fnatic. If they can manage that a bit better and actually set up one of their executes inner, those have been kind of their bread and butter. And again, they have... It's not like they just have one way of hitting inner. You know, they have some heavy upper pushes, like smoke walls to help them get out in the upper balcony and be able to attack the inner site from, you know, multiple angles. You know, a little bit more complex than maybe some of the other inner executes you're used to seeing. So that's something that's definitely in their playbook. I've seen them run. I mean, they can obviously try to work their default and see if Mo can find something with the AWP. Again, they're a very disciplined team in how they approach defaults, but that hasn't really worked for them yet either. So... I don't know. They have to come up with something here because they're getting crushed in this half. And this was a map that, again, has been very good to them lately. They've won it the last 3 times they played it offline. Good overall record. It's been building up in their map pool. But they are falling flat right now. Fnatic has just been dominant here so far. Night and day from yesterday.
But it didn't start that way. It was back and forth. You know, they're really slugging it out in those opening 4 rounds. But since then, they've gone from strength to strength, taking it in their stride. Gambit have not been able to keep up with the pace. You say the aggressive peak, something that was just eerily absent yesterday against CLG, have been present multiple times, and Flusha will be on B again by himself. Olofmeister going to be watching into teammate, no one is home. Bomb dropped out towards T-spawn, of course declaration of intent. We're not going to see any early shenanigans for the time being. Gonna be a slower paced round. I say that, but Mo's gonna get himself a pick on Crims, and that could open up things nicely. But with Stu dying and Ivy and Doja being laid to rest by Dennis, that early pick has been countered.
Yeah, the follow-up just so strong for Fnatic to get the man advantage, but Hobbit, he has snuck behind enemy lines here. He could be the one to blow this thing up. The bomb's transitioning through inner halls. If Hobbit finds the key frag in the back here, this could still be a bomb plant, a post-plant scenario. He gets it on the Flusha, and he's deep into enemy territory. He can really cut off these rotations. This is finally Gambit showing us something.
Behind enemy lines, affording Adren the bomb plant. 2 Orps on a retake. Mollying out. JW. Hungry to peek. Hobbit. Excellent angle used. Headshot delivered first class to JW. He'll want more. Olofmeister gifts himself across, and Gambit, well, the pause has been a success. And it was all off a push, a cheeky push round the back of B, killing Flusha. And again, he was the only B defender. Maybe that's something that Fnatic need to look into.
Well, I mean, they were having so much success defending the outer side. I mean, they traded 2 for 1 out there, so it was looking still good for Fnatic, but it just so happens that Hobbit able to sneak out up or something that's really never been attempted. Catches Fnatic off guard. And so now a 3rd round comes up for Gambit, but Fnatic's still so very far ahead, and they could reset Gambit again. Going into the last round, that would really hurt what Gambit has to work with. And there it is. JW is just winning so many op-v-op duels against Mo. And that seems to be the real struggle for Mo. He gets picked against other players, but when you put him against another opper, he can sometimes really struggle to handle that. That's been actually something that's been an occurrence throughout this tournament for him.
Which is surprising for me, because Mo has such quick reaction speed. I mean, you see it constantly with his flicking. Typically, they make for the AWPers that win most of the duels when it comes to the head-to-head battles.
I mean, don't get me wrong. When you look at Gambit, you think of Hobbit and Adren as being kind of the big-name players, but Mo is certainly a serviceable AWP player, but just he's been missing out on some of these duels against hoppers. So that's going to give the man advantage here to Fnatic, as Gambit's still looking to put pressure on Ivy. They have a bomb enter, though, so they're really going to do a back hall split. Certainly possible. They do have a player CT, though, for Fnatic to watch this. I believe that's Olofmeister with the AWP. Yep, this is going to be painful.
Great call as well to have him stationed here in the first place, and they don't have the primary AWPer, and it shows. Olofmeister dispatching of 2. Flusha now holding the back angle. Easy spray down. And a flawless round. Fnatic straight back into winning ways. 11-3. Gambit will have Tech 9s and an AK in the last round, and that's about it.
Yeah, you could see a lot hinged on them being able to get pressure on the back halls, and Olof was having none of that, as this is truly a Fnatic team firing on all cylinders now. I mean, every now and then you had a player, like one player being a bit weak, but everyone's playing strong here. That's what this lineup affords them. They have so much firepower, and it's really coming out true here on CT side. Train as Gambit one last crack at this, as the bell has been run of a Trin with that grenade, but it'll be overkill from Olof's AWP in the end anyway.
JW mid-air, taking down Mo. Those aren't easy shots. Doja finally gets his man. It's a 1-on-5, and he's got the first one. Oof, I thought for a second he actually landed a second, but nope, that's not the case. Fnatic brush Gambit aside and take a 12-3 first half, and that half felt like me went past incredibly quickly. A lot of those rounds were done within the first 30-odd seconds.
Again, I think it's just a huge adjustment for Fnatic yesterday, where they realized who they are, and that is a team that can really be good whenever they're aggressive and they're making plays, and they're the ones creating action. And so you saw a lot more initiative from Fnatic on their CT side today compared to that marathon of a game against CLG that they lost. They were really looking to not let Gambit get set up, you know, let them run their executes. They know that they're a heavy tactical team, but they got in their face and really prevented them from getting comfortable. Particularly those aggressive inner halls plays are probably the keys. I feel like both times Gambit had like a really good full buy round, they got crushed by an aggressive op, whether it was Flusha or Olof, and I think that really hurt a lot. And then other than that, they just were working limited buys most of the half and just very rarely found success. It was only that one kind of gimmicky round that Hobbit sneaks in inner halls that they really got much done there in the later parts of the half, and so now they have to play from so far behind.
This, of course, the half that both CLG and Fnatic had more success on, so it doesn't really get any easier for Gambit. They're going to go for 0 utility, no kits, just full-on USPs with Kevlar. Did pick up some decoys, I think, as well, but it's already been tossed out. Flusha in the meanwhile, a couple flashes and a smoke. playing up close. Close angles. Doja spots himself a player. Going to be able to live to fight another day. Calls that out for the rest of his team. And they are starting to get a quick rotation around the back, and that's going to be Zeus. But his trajectory is going to take him maybe too far afield. He's not going to be able to get here close enough to help out the rest of his team. It's going to be more about the retake that he has. He needs his team to start landing kills, and they will oblige with 2. Doja and Mo. Crims comes back with one of his own, though. And he may very well be able to get a second one. Nope, Mo will silence him. Pushing onto the site. He will meet Dennis, who's quite a beast with pistols. It's all on Flusher. And although all 3 Gambit players are low, not low enough to take the round for Fnatic. So second pistol will go the way of Gambit. A much needed one. Gives them a lifeline.
So they do hang on. Like, at least they're still hanging around here. Big pistol win for them. They needed that so much. And still, though, with that bomb plant, Fnatic has options. They could force buy heavy here, or they can wait and save and buy for 3rd round. Either one's viable in the current meta. This time they will select to be conservative. Not bad. So this means that Gambit should have a pretty good chance to get this one. I mean, Fnatic could hope for another bomb plant, though. And that could give them even more weight to their full buy coming up next. So I think they are going to gather up inner halls and try to go for the same thing. There's only 1 player here, and the rotation's pretty far off right now thanks to this pressure Dennis is creating. So if they can get past Doja, they should have that extra money.
That's a big if, though. He has an M4A4. 30 bullets to back him up. There's the first few that rattle off into the head of Flusher. A spray on point. Is JW going to get there? No, he's not going to be able to get the plant. There's a bit concern there for a second, but he tried to plant out in the open. Fnatic will not be getting that second plant, but they do have AKs.
Yeah, again, this is a team that was really loving double op on T-side. They obviously can't buy it this round, so they will be forced to do a full rifle round. But again, they were playing like super slow, like Olaf just kind of camping out at Ivy. You know, Flusha Crim trying to play inner halls. They were just very, very slow pace, which is so unlike them. So I'm curious to see if they kind of stick to that. I mean, it's great to add that element to your game, but they were just too reliant on it, it felt like. I want to see something a bit different. Heavy Ivy presence, but there is a push from Hobbit. Getting up way close, but gets blinded and taken out by Olaf. That's a big kill to get.
Yeah, as soon as that smoke lands just outside of Ivy, that flash is always going to be following it. A lot of damage. Mo's landed 3 scout shots. Dennis, Olaf, and JW all hemorrhaging, all wounded. Not bad effort with the scout. Puts them into the territory of just 1 bullet from the M4s or the UMP. Flusher going to try and sneak his way out. Going to get the spray onto Mo.
Not after getting tagged himself, though, so they're so lightened up right now, and Zeus will actually take out the 1 player that had the full HP. That's Crim's out, so now it's a 3-on-4, but Gambit actually, I would say, has the edge, and they're starting to put it together. They now have the man advantage after those quick kills.
Mo, the assist king, is going to start to collect on his earlier endeavors. Dennis and Olaf side. Well, the best chance is probably to push through together. Looks like this could be collapsing in the next few moments, though. Dennis is never really going to happen for him once he got to the E-box. So Mo, I mean, he dies, but he is kind of the hero of that round. He landed 4 shots with the scout. But so much damage in that round, and they're able to collect on it. So it's 12-6 now.
And now he'll upgrade to the AWP, so now he can just do it himself if he hits the shots. Zeus will actually be trying to farm some cash with the MP9. Not a bad idea. He knows he's up against a low buy, so this is a chance to get the money really going for Gambit and start getting back into this game, start settling in. As at least they're starting to finally close the gap just a bit. This one should get them 1 step closer, given Fnatic not much to work with. They will just open up default.
Nade chunking. Mo almost reacting too fast there, just spinning towards the sky. And it is Fnatic that have drawn the first kill out this round, but considering they've only got an MP9, it's not as if they got their hands on the assault rifles. And Dennis is very low. You can actually see that he prefers to deal at this range, and correct decision surely, especially in his very capable hands.
So they're starting to get some positioning here, and they do have the man advantage with Zeus out. But they still have to get past these M4s and Mo's AWP, and his scoping has been pretty good, if in last round is any example. Dennis creeping up, gets caught by a Drin though, so it's starting to turn. But here comes the big folks. It's going to be Ivy. 3 players trying to come through here. This is going to be the crux of everything.
Oh, Hobbit, that was looking so rough for a second, but there is the crossfire. Drin with a 4th in the round. Gambit are bringing this back closer and closer, but Fnatic still have such a huge buffer of rounds that they're okay to pull a trigger on another AK purchase. So full nades across the board, apart from Dennis. There's missing a couple of mollies, but more than enough. I mean, they've got 5 smokes.
And so again, a lot of yesterday was just default stuff, and working from that, looks like they will open up that way again. Olaf in familiar territory here at Ivy. JW holding out T-Con again. This is as standard as it gets for Fnatic. They really want to make sure they can get control of inner halls with Flusha and Krems, the usual suspects for that area. And so far they're doing just that as Krems clearing out lower ramp and starting to push towards upper as well. So they've gotten this real estate now to work with. As Dennis just holds to see if anyone's going to take an aggressive peek into ladder room. So they're just setting their bases up, basically. Just getting that foundation built. Leaving all their options open. Which, again, is kind of a new look for Fnatic with this 5. When you compare them to late 2015, they were just so... like, they were the epitome of loose style play, right? Just, like, so reliant on individual efforts. And I feel like they're starting to get that tactical base now, starting to get some of that extra teamwork. And they always played off of each other well, but now they're just kind of taking it to another level.
Yeah, perhaps realizing they couldn't just rest all on their individual talent anymore, that they had to adapt and delve into other mindsets. And so far, so good. But it should also be highlighted that so far on this half, they are yet to pick up a round. So Gambit off to winning ways.
They also had the clock be their worst enemy a couple of times, so they do have to make sure they give themselves enough time, as the execute should be pouring out here any moment. The smokes are out.
Both teams expending the majority of their nades. Zeus, caught in 2 mines, may have assumed that a flash was coming his way. Still gets the drop onto Dennis. And Almo's going to task with the orb. 12 seconds. Taras have got to get some kills and that bomb under control. No more room for error. Olaf Meister connects the headshot. There's 4 seconds though. They don't have enough time and Doji's not peeking. Gambit take the round, and that's going to be a bitter body blow. Not only because they take the round, but JW's economy just got wrecked as he dies after time.
And again, that was a concern yesterday against CLG sometimes. Even on their Mirage game against Cloud9, there were some rounds they lost because they didn't give themselves enough time. If you play to the last, 15 or so seconds, that one time you get disrupted, that one thing that goes wrong means that maybe you're not getting the bomb down, and that means you lose, no matter what kills you get. And that's what happened there. They could never really get out of ladders. Zeus did well to hold that portion off, and it gave Gambit some control, allowed them to keep playing forward on that E-box area and just keep chipping away at Fnatic, not really letting them access to the bomb train. So this is starting to be some good work from Gambit. Now they're really getting into this one because Fnatic are on another low buy, and all of a sudden Gambit are within striking distance.
It's also 5 unanswered rounds on this half. Zeus. I've seen a couple of aggresses in the team main side. Gonna be bolstering up the smoke on Pop Dog, which is just about to fade. Dennis is going to be lurking in the shadows. He's already landed quite a few deeks from this same position, and he sees the shadow preceding Zeus, and that's all he needs. Headshot received. Downside for Fnatic, though, is they get the kill. They haven't really done much with it, however.
At least they have the man advantage to work with, so now when they try to gather up and trade, they'll have that one thing going for them. They also have an added gun now as well. They only had 1 rifle coming into this. Now they add another one to it thanks to Dennis, who does have head armor behind that M4 as well, so aim punch not a factor like it would be on someone like JW with the Deagle.
They have no nades here, Dust, and they're lacking on time again. It's going to have to be raw entry fragging power into a bomb plant. And they're going to get it to start things off. Mo, with the shot onto Flusha partially through the train, it's going to keep their options open. As Hobbit is also coming through from the Ivy side. Is he going to be able to get a drop onto any of these players? Yes, he will onto Krims, looking to try and transfer across the second player. It's going to be Olaf Meister, who goes down. Now this clutch is very much a reality. Dennis has the bomb planted for him, but no nades to proceed. His peak, that's a hell of a shot to Mo in midair. And now Hobbit is screwed. He's gonna have to hold on to the... He's gonna get it. No, not like this.
Oh, you hate to see it.
After such a sick midair shot.
Dennis was doing so good that round.
Pros don't fake.
Oh, man. I mean, I know you don't want to peek it right away, but you kind of have to have that internal clock. Like, if he does stick it, I have to peek now because it's been, you know, the 5 seconds or whatever, and he just doesn't quite do it, and that does hurt a lot because he did so much work in that round. He got the deagle pick, he picked up a rifle, got another kill, helped him get the bomb planted. Olaf was doing some work as well there, but in the end, Gambit steal it away.
Fnatic have been so close so many times to breaking the curse of their T side here. Oh, JW missing out on his opportunity. Could prove to be vital going through into the dying embers here of round 22. Using the smoke to get all the way into the face of the CT. He's going to try and transfer his spread to the second player behind the train. Not able to get it done. The smoke's now going to come to the rescue of Adren. Bomb out in the open, and Hobbit can see it. He knows there's no hope for a bomb plant in the next few moments. Going to go out for a re-peek. Flusher gets tagged very low, but he does come out ahead in that confrontation, leaving Mo and his AWP with the weight of the world on his shoulders. He's going to alleviate the pressure somewhat with the kill onto Flusher. Able to dart into Ivy, relocating, setting his feet in place to try and turn into the turret. No idea where these remaining 2 players are. He's going to have to check every single corner on the approach. He doesn't have a kit either. And to make matters worse, he's been tagged and he's been spotted, and his days are numbered. JW in hot pursuit. This could be the first round that Fnatic win on this half. The kill comes in, but Mo doesn't have a kit, and he's got no hope. Fnatic will be taking a 13-9 lead.
He's baiting Olaf in, though, with that smoke, trying to see if he can at least get the exit frag, making him think that maybe he'd try to defuse it, but not going to work out. He gets away.
And just to highlight again, Olaf 25 and 13.
Yeah, this is the Olaf you want to see. Also, it was great to see Fnatic do something a bit more aggressive in the early round from T-side. Again, I felt like yesterday they got really bogged down into just playing a lot of slow rounds and the clock being their enemy. Even saw that happen in this game already a couple of times. But this round they pick up the pace. They send JW forward early. He gets some work done. He gets them access to the bomb plant, and they just hold off to retake really well, always staying kind of a man ahead in every situation. And so now they're up 13-9. They're the ones that are in big control of this game. The money is definitely on their side as well because they've reset Gambit just now. Gambit will buy up all they can, but it includes a UMP, a FAMAS, and a MAG-7. If they lose this round, then you really don't have much money to back up a map point effort from Fnatic, you know? So this is going to have to work. It's going to be slim pickings, though.
I mean, this ultimately could be do or die territory for Gambit on train.
And this is the map you thought they had to get to win this series. I mean, again, it's been a good map for them lately. To let it slip through against Fnatic, that's going to hurt because you're going on to Inferno, which has been one of Fnatic's better maps. It's important to note that they've traded Inferno games on each other. Gambit beat them on Inferno at Vegas, I believe. Pretty one-sided, but then Fnatic returned the favor at Star Ladder with the one-sided victory themselves.
Oh no, you could see what he was hoping to achieve by hiding in the smoke, but it's completely backfired. And Zeus almost forced into re-peeking and seeing if he get some of the kills back in the way of Gambit. The pause seemingly not paying off for the time being. They still have Hobbit, Mo, and Adren. And clumping together may suggest that they realize the economy is so poor that if that bomb does get planted, they may just back away and save. That being said, though, Mo is going in for a peek on Connector, or at least he did initially. And he will again now. Let's see if he can land any picks on the approach. Maybe that will bait them into a retake. He is committing into this. Missing out on his chances now. There's going to be so many players peeking him, and he will go down. Which is the reason why I thought they may just try and save this. because now they're going to be lacking an AWP, they're going to be lacking another player on a full purchase. That's even if they can save the weapon.
Oh, Fnatic's definitely hunting.
For sure. They want this weapon away. That much is a certainty. He's going to get peeked. He's down to very low health, gets finished off, and now Hobbit with his UMP. In a pretty solid position to save, but I can't help but feel that if they just stick together and just set up some kind of a crossfire, they could have kept 3 weapons going ahead, including an AWP, and had a real shot at round 24.
Yeah, I mean, again, this round gets won in inner halls by Fnatic, just really catching on to the aggression, particularly by Dozia. Guy like Krims really had a big round here, just making sure that Gambit wasn't going to get anything for free. In fact, he gave them nothing at all. Flawless victory for Fnatic up until the very end, whenever they actually went to go chasing after guns, when they finally lost 1 player. And so you can see the money is just so poor for Gambit now. They're basically in a 4th spot to survive scenario for the rest of this game. They're going to have a long road to travel to get there with so little to work with. As Fnatic, they smell blood in the water.
Zeus is going to come in for a kill, and deciding the best defense is a strong offense in this round when they have just pistols. They're going to get a Mach 10 though. It's nothing too substantial. Dennis down to a measly 13 health as the nades are being traded into connector. JW lands the mark as another CZ kill does go the way of Gambit. So it's back and forth into 6 players left, 3 on each side, and Krims, switching to his nade, nearly gets found wanting. Damage being inflicted onto Fnatic though. Mach 10 now going to be romping in for a kill onto JW. The balance have tipped back in the favor of Gambit just for a few more seconds. Zeus comes out with a CZ frag, but he has no bullets at all. He needs to back away to the CT side and pick up a USP, I assume. That's what he's going for.
Oh man, this is such a bad position to be in. Yeah, he's only got the USP. Luckily, Dennis is so low on HP, it doesn't really matter. A USP will certainly be enough to finish Dennis off. It's just about positioning now, though. Is Zeus really going to anticipate where Dennis is coming from? One of them could easily just be blindsided in this scenario. Zeus seems to have a pretty good mind about it.
This really could just come down to pure timing.
Yep.
Ultimately.
Zeus basically putting himself in the best position possible to be able to quickly drift either direction this bomb gets planted. And that's really what he's counting on. He doesn't have a kit, so he'd have to find the kill really quickly.
These are the kind of situations you want a guy with the experience of Zeus to be in. And now Dennis is going to get the plant, and it's out in the open too. This is going to be so difficult for Zeus to pick off now. It's looking like it could be possible. Now it's looking unlikely, and Dennis, lightning fast reaction speed, doesn't even give him a chance to clutch. Close, but no cigar.
Doesn't falter this time around. I'm sure he caught a little bit of flack from that time he got diffused on, but this round he really bailed his team out of a tough spot, because even though Gambit didn't have much, they were posing a serious threat up until this play here from Dennis. Those 2 kills kept his team in it, and then he wins the 1v1 clutch in the end, so definitely making up for the previous time around. And now Fnatic just 1 round away from stealing this map away from Gambit.
Oh, hello. That's a scout, and that's a headshot. Good night for now, Olof. Zeus with a UMP, good for 1 in a second. Gambit aren't done just yet, it would appear. Krims, a 1-on-4, lands the first, has 27 health remaining. And he's gone for the wall bangs. Oh, that nade destroys him.
Oh, that's so smart.
Okay, there you go. I like that, Krims. He knows he's going to die. Throw the AWP away. Don't let the CTs get their hands on it.
Yep, that's definitely the thought process there. Knowing there's no chance to carry it over, at least make sure your opponents don't get it, because you know their money is limited. Make them have to dip into their pockets to grab it. Lighten up with the utility they can have. As SK's money is actually, or excuse me, Fnatic's money is starting to drain a little bit here. They have a full buy on this round except for Olaf and JW, but if they were to lose this, they would actually be on probably a save. That's where Gambit could start maybe being a bit dangerous to threaten an overtime. So Fnatic do have to be a bit careful. They've done a lot of great things this map, and they've remained ahead the entire time for the most part, but you don't want to let go of this right here at the end where it matters most, as we are going to see them position up for something a bit quicker again. So again, I'm liking the pacing changes, but unfortunately Mo has shut them down over at Ivy, taking down JW. A rarity for him.
Dennis is going to come back swinging though with a kill of his own before Zeus and Hobbit lay down their authority outside. It's actually Hobbit that gets both of the kills before he meets his demise, courtesy of a P250 kill, and Olaf might be good for another one. Gonna switch to the M4, 9 bullets left, but Zeus all he needed with the USP. And we have reached that point that you mentioned where Fnatic will be into an eco, so Gambit, they could bring this deficit down to just 3.
Yeah, there's not a whole lot Fnatic can do about it either in this round. It's just going to be a P250 coming out on Olaf. Dennis will join him, and we may see a few more pistols sprinkled in, but looks like no, it's just going to be Glocks for everyone else. 1 smoke on Dennis, so can't really expect too much here. This should be a 12th round for Gambit, so they are hanging around. They're lingering in here on Train. Actually, 1 player still in spawn for Fnatic? That's odd. Okay, now he's finally coming out. Maybe just talking about things.
Yeah, it would be flush up, just with a Glock. Maybe using it as like a mini tactical timeout.
Yeah.
Because they know their chances of getting anything done in this round are exceptionally low. They do have a smoke. Wouldn't surprise me if you see that smoke thrown towards the connector or maybe catwalk and just try and waterfall out for a B plant. It's going to be the catwalk side as opposed to connector. Down come the troops into a hail of gunfire, and it's Dosia with a wild spray that will be able to get a few kills in this round, courtesy of Incendiary, a P250, and also the AK-47. But the bomb did get planted, Dust, and that is mission accomplished as far as Fnatic are concerned.
I mean, they only invested $600 in this round total, right? 2 P250s and a smoke grenade. So you can't really ask for more than that, than a bomb plant that gets them all that they need in this round. AKs across the board, full utility sets. So let's see what they want to go for here. Again, definitely a different philosophy from Fnatic. They really haven't been opping at all on T side, which is something that was a big staple of their entire map against CLG from the offense. So
yeah,
again, the adjustments are aplenty from Fnatic in this game.
I mean, they had double ops a bunch of times too, and JW had enough for an op in this round, went for an AK instead. Crims and Zeus aren't going to exchange kills. Crims down to 13. So the health advantage firmly in favor of Gambit.
See Fnatic gathering up here in the inner hall, so it seems like, again, they want to go for some more of a set-type play rather than hanging around their default for too long, but the counter nades from Gambit on the lower ramp will slow them down. That Incendiary disallows any passage into inner for now, but they'll still keep their formation, and now that the utility has been spent, they'll begin to pour in.
Mo's in such a good position to strike, though, using the train to shield himself after the flashbang landed in his eyes. Dennis can sense there's a rotation coming to fruition, and Zeus will be dealt with. 45 seconds for Dennis to try and clutch this one. If not, Gambit are in position to maybe take us to overtime. Fnatic will be sick to their stomachs of even the idea of overtime on this map after yesterday. But there's a very real possibility it could be happening, or maybe Dennis will just close it out right here, right now. The last 2 remaining CTs did split up. It's going to be 2 separate 1v1s, and how is Dennis clutch? Misses out on that opportunity, has a Molotov. Hobbit can counter that, though, with a smoke if he goes for some kind of onto the side, but Dennis doesn't require it. Headshot instantly into the face of Hobbit. 16-12 will go the way of Fnatic on Train. Great performance.
That's 2 different clutches on the inner bomb site from Dennis there to start finishing that thing off, and he's the one to seal the deal on the final round. Great work by him individually. Most of Fnatic really pulled it off here. Again, there wasn't really a weak link here for Fnatic in this game. And again, I love the adjustments. They looked like a much different team. They looked way more confident. They looked to be more in their comfort zone. They took the initiative on CT side. They took aggressive peaks. They showed you what they're made of there. And then on their T side, again, they made more adjustments. You know, they didn't, fall into the trap of just double opping T side every round. They didn't, only a couple of times did the clock become an enemy for them. They were a lot faster paced. They seemed a lot more decisive. They just looked like an overall better team on Train today as opposed to yesterday against CLG.
Yeah, there were a couple of moments there, though. I thought Gambit may be able to get their way back in. I mean, Fnatic started shaky 2-2, then they just went on this mad spree, and then Gambit brought it back a little bit. So I will say that although Fnatic get the win, and it was a solid victory on Train, I'm not writing Gambit off just yet. I think Fnatic did look like they weren't 100% there on Train.
Yeah, I mean, the stakes were so much more limited, though, in this particular game. Like I said, I think the adjustments they made on both sides of the map really benefited them. Again, they just looked a lot more comfortable. They were popping off with most of their players. I mean, I know Crims was kind of down there towards the bottom, but he had key plays when he needed to, and he wasn't really asked for much. Meanwhile, everyone else, particularly Olaf, continuing to play really strong. He had that one bad game on Mirage against Cloud9, and ever since then, he's been totally on point, and it's good to see him being revitalized, and it's good to see, you know, Fnatic taking that map win, because that would have been big for Gambit to take Train. They really needed that, I felt like.
Well, we'll have to see if they can win Inferno or if Fnatic goes straight through 2-0 after this very short break, guys. Stay with us.